In order to deepen religious harmony in Yobe State, the state government established the Ministry of Religious Affairs to oversee such matters. This ministry relies on 4 departments, which are Religious Affairs, Sharia, Dawal and Zakat, to carry out this task of attending to the social and spiritual needs of the people of the state. On this week's episode of Impact Yobe, I will have a chat with the State Commissioner for Religious Affairs, Alhaji Musti, for an insight into the activities of the ministry. My name is Femi Akonde. Welcome to the program.
The Yobe State Emergency Management Agency, USEMA, says dwindling resources will not hinder its efforts to fulfill its mandate of providing succor for victims of insurgency and other disasters. The agency was set up by the Buni administration to provide humanitarian aid to victims of insurgency who returned to their ancestral homes in the northeast of Nigeria. The executive secretary of the agency, Mohammed Goje, believes that scarcity of resources will not deter their efforts to fulfill this mandate.
For the past 12 years, many victims of Boko Haram insurgency have had to flee their homes to seek refuge in host communities. Some were harbored in hard-to-reach communities, while others in the urban towns of local government areas. To coordinate efforts in order to ensure humanitarian interventions reaches all in need of it, the State Humanitarian Agency was set up. It is saddened with the responsibility to identify returnees and conflict victims even in the most remote communities and to provide them aid.
Yobe State is among the states that were affected by the long-edge crisis of Boko Haram crisis in the Bay State. And we are hopeful because based on the resources His Excellency has provided to the security agencies and based on the government effort over the years, peace has returned and people have started returning to their homes. And what we have done is to ensure that the reintegration process, the recovery process and the reconstruction process is done in such a way that people will be having their means of livelihood, their economic empowerment is going hand in hand. But that will not cover across all the LGS. So whenever we respond, there must be need on ground. And it's so unfortunate that most of the LGS that we are responding have continuous crisis over time. And of course, we cannot neglect them.
During the recent distribution of food items by Victim Support Fund to Kukarita community, the Commissioner of Humanitarian Affairs appealed that humanitarian intervention should not be left for government alone.
The Victim Support Fund, under the leadership of His Excellency General T.Y. Danjuma, graciously supported the people of Yobe State with the items as mentioned by the Executive Director here, totaling almost 8,500 households or 8,600 households. We are grateful to you. Please kindly extend the appreciation of His Excellency Honorable Maimala Buni, the Executive Governor of Yobe State, to His Excellency General T.Y. Danjuma for all this wonderful support. And it is also an opportunity for us to say that other partners should also copy from General T.Y. Danjuma.
The SEMA boss notes that the humanitarian gesture was possible due to Governor Buni's support and directives.
His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Yobe State, has clearly given us a direction. Honorable Malas Buni's direction is that we respond to emergency within the shortest possible time. He further emphasized that in responding to emergency, we should go ahead and decrease the time of response from 48, 72 hours to 24 hours minimum. And that has been our watchword. And in doing so, there are areas that we respond as first-line response. In terms of disaster, the first thing that we do is to evacuate victims to hospital, collaborate with relevant medical personnel and hospital agencies, and put their bills within the first 48 hours. The second thing that we do is to ensure that after evacuation, victims have first line of food items that they can put on their tables. That in terms of flood, in terms of fire outbreak, and in terms of crisis. The reason is simple. Most of our people are peasant farmers. Most of our community members are those that petty traders that work daily to put food on their table. When there's fire outbreak, when there's flood, when there's communal clashes, when there's crisis, when there's attack by members of non-state armed groups, they find it difficult to go out and work and provide food for their family. So that's why we rush, after medical response, we rush and give them food so that they put on their table.
Yobe SEMA boss expatiates that despite the scarce resources and dwindling economy, the Yobe state government was able to meet the humanitarian needs of victims of insurgency who are gradually picking the pieces of their lives. Michael Oshoma.
A group of youth known as Intellectual and Concerned Indigenous of Yobe State have condemned attacks on the personality of Governor Mai Mala Buni over his alleged absence from the state. The group says the governor's absence has not in any way impeded him in performing his constitutional duties.
Since assuming a national assignment as APC National Caretaker Chairman, Governor Mai Mala Buni has frequently had to visit Abuja and other parts of Nigeria to achieve the mandate given to him. This development has not gone down well with some persons and the opposition, who insist Governor Buni's absence from the state has created a lacuna in governance. These youths do not agree with this. They have come out to oppose critics whom they tag enemies of progress.
These conversations drifted to tunes were reduced to misinterpretation and personal attacks on the governor of Yobe State, His Excellency Honorable Mai Mala Buni, Chiromangujiba Walindamatru, instigating that he has failed to live up to his expectations in his primary role as the governor of Yobe State. Before we go into other details of this press statement, it is important we lay the foundation that as sons and daughters of Yobe State, representing various constituencies and affiliations, we stand above any other person or group to give factual evidence of Honorable Mai Mala Buni's stewardship. This is because we are the future to be protected, the ones with the most entrenched interest in where Yobe goes, the generation with the most stake in secured and prosperous of Yobe State. Gentlemen of the press, but before saying anything, we think it is important to first and foremost send appreciation to the President and Grand Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency President Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR.
They argue that the people attacking Governor Buni on social media and television do not speak for the citizens of Yobe State.
For us here in Yobe State, as sons and daughters of this space, we find it utterly disgusting for persons far from here, far from our realities, to concoct what can best be described as incongruous political smear by exposing as if they know what happened here, that His Excellency Honorable Mai Mala Buni has failed in fulfilling duties of serving Yobe and Yobians.
Someone who has not crossed the Niger in the last 3-4 years is sitting down in the comfort of a TV studio and claiming that Governor Buni has absented himself from his primary responsibilities and he's not doing anything in Yobe. That's an opinion and a fact.
There is a person called Hassan Alwan in Kano who stated something on Honorable Mai Mala Buni that he cannot deliver, or he has something, or a kind of personal interest in ruling the entire party in the country. This is obvious, and his statement is a kind of unscrupulous and nonsensity, what he said. So I want to clearly call on Hassan Alwan to come out publicly and apologize for what he said and withdraw his statement with immediate effect.
Definitely.
The Special Advisor on Political Affairs, Hajibullah Rafa, is in agreement with these youth who have shown support.
All Yobians know that Governor Mai Mala is performing, whether he's around or not. He has able lieutenants. He has his deputy governor. He has his able commissioners. He has his advisors that advise him. And we have the permanent secretaries. Even if he's here, these are the lieutenants that will perform. His one is directive.
The group threatened to file a suit against anyone who tarnishes the image of their governor without any substantial facts to back their claims.
The Yobe State Task Force on Petroleum, alongside other stakeholders, have continued to monitor fuel stations to ascertain if they are hoarding the petrol from motorists. The chairman of the task force, Ali Mustafa, warned that anyone caught in the act of hoarding petrol will be forced to sell the petrol to consumers.
For over a week, Damaturu and its environs have witnessed a scarcity of fuel. While this is presently being witnessed nationwide, government and stakeholders in Yobe State decided to verify how severe the situation is. This has pushed officials of the Yobe State Task Force on Petroleum out on the streets. The first port of call was the state mega station.
This operation is purposely to go around all the filling stations in the Damaturu metropolis. This is considered necessary because of the scarcity of premium motor spirits in the state.
The chairman of the task force speaks on what action will be taken if any fuel station owner is found wanting.
If there is any filling station that is holding the commodity, we will enforce selling. Immediately they will start selling.
As at the time the operation was ongoing, many fuel stations had started operating. But whether this will continue going forward remains to be seen. Michael Oshoma, TVC News, Damaturu, Yobe State.
Our special interview on Impact Yobe this week is with the Commissioner for Religious Affairs in Yobe State, Honorable Mala Musti. Welcome to the program, Honorable Commissioner.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Religion is something that is very dear to the people. What informed the establishment of a full-fledged ministry for religious affairs in Yobe State?
Thank you very much for the question. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وصلى الله على النبي الكريم. As you said rightly, religion is all about peaceful coexistence and then acceptance to religion. What informed, as you said, of our state of forming this ministry, it has 4 peculiar departments. Namely, we have the religious affairs as a department, we have Dawah as a department, we have Sharia as a department, we have Zakat as a department. With these 4 departments in place, they are all out to improve the well-being of mankind. To start with, when we talk of religious affairs, it is not only Islam, even in the Christians, these are the 2 major religions. We interfere with their activities to see that they are doing the needful, they are in harmony, and then they have a free platform for anybody to exercise his faith. This is one of our major issues. You can see we were given an award by Christian Society in Yobe State as a bridge builder between the 2 religions. You can see my cup over there behind my table. And all what we do is to see that we live in harmony. That's the one of religious affairs. Then when we come to Zakat, Zakat in Islam is a calculated attempt by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that the rich people will give 1/40 of their riches to the vulnerable and poor people, often all less privileged people. There are about 8 in number where that money should be spent. So, if we can adhere to this strictly, we have less problem in the society. Because if you have 1 billion, you know what it means if you give 1/40 of your riches to that treasury. So there should be people who are supposed to collect this money, and then could be distributed to the rightful people who are mentioned in the Quran. So this is Zakat. Zakat will go a long way in even encouraging people to give what we call wakaf. Wakaf is willing to give something out willingly on your own. Beside that one is compulsory if you are Muslim. There is certain stage when you are reaches meet that it has become compulsory for you that you should give 1/40 of your riches. So this is the one we call zakat. And then when we talk of wakaf, it's something that you give out willingly to the needy, to the poor people. So this is also another department.
That's the story about the zakat. Now there's the
Dawah. And then Dawah is the one preaching of the hadith of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the Prophet, and then the Quran. The Quran is the saying of Allah, and then the hadith is the saying of Prophet. So the preachers, Dawah is the one taking care of preaching of these two books, that is the hadith and then Quran. So we have them in number. We encourage them to go to every local government area, every palace, every mosque, and then preach. This is another department. The other department is the one of Sharia. Sharia is a way of living to see that there are no destitutes. That's the people we help when we get something. Prostitution should be prohibited. There will be no alcohol taken. There will be no drugs abuse. The department is looking for free and peaceful society, which is, I think, welcomed by any other religion, more especially the other counterpart, that is Christianity, did not encourage all this. Why? What Sharia is prohibited. You cannot be taking drugs, you will not be abused to the community you are living in. You should be good and acceptable member of your society. That is, when you are not acceptable member, you are not good. So these are the activities of the Sharia Department. We encourage our leaders like the emirs. We have about platforms in the local government areas of Sharia committee. We have about 40 platforms where we have some members who are taking care of all these activities. They discourage all these type of ill activities in the society. These are the four major.
Because I was coming to ask what's the relationship between the government and religious leaders. That you are touching on that, but maybe emphasize more on that relationship between government and religious leaders through the ministry, in ensuring that religious leaders also help sensitize the people to be up and lead and make the society better.
Exactly, that is very correct. We, even in the mosques, we have Friday mosque, about 38 in number in Damaturu alone. These are the imams who are supposed to be appointed through the approval of the ministry, because we don't want a situation whereby somebody will come with some ideas which are not acceptable to the country at large, not even Yobe. So that they should be screened before they are given this appointment. I'm not able to make mention, even in the preachers, we have committee in every palace. This committee, when you come to preach, they will screen and see that you are not advocating for any danger to the country or the state.
Extremists,
very good. They discourage all these extremists in their activities. So government is open they are bringing these people nearer to the ministry. We are monitoring them. Anybody who is trying to preach anything that will go against our peace in the country will be stopped. We know the type of people who are allowed to preach to the people. That is what is supposed to be told to our people and what that they are going to do. So we don't leave them alone on their own. And more especially for prayer, the 30th year anniversary, we called most of them to pray for peaceful coexistence, prosperity of the state and the nation at large. The same thing with the preachers. I called them here. The chairman was not around. The secretary, woman leader, and assistant secretary came to me. I discussed with them. We have so many things in common. When I asked them to pray for this thing, they said, even in the Bible, you are asked to pray for your leaders. The same thing in the Quran. You should pray for your leaders, whatever they do. Even if they do wrong, you should pray for God to correct them. But you should not be praying negatively on their part. So these are the things we are doing. We don't allow them to be on their own. We always throw them nearer to us. We advise them, we share our ideas with them, and then this is how we go by.
We have seen in some states or even some parts of the country where politicians have incited should I say conflict between the two religions, but in Yobe State that is different because there's peace, there's harmony between the two religions. How has the government been able to handle this and ensure that it is sustainable?
It should be all inclusive because government is for all. It's not for any single religion. Anybody who has this in mind should try to see that everybody is carried along. And this is what is happening in Yobe. Our governor is all out to see that we are all in one house. We are all doing the same thing. All that is understanding. You are Christianity, even in one family, when you come to Yobe, you see some are Muslims, some are Christians, and this has nothing to do with their daily affairs. So this is why Yobe State government is doing. We are in peace and harmony with our brothers and sisters who are Christians and then the Muslims. There are no difference. This is how we operate.
Insecurity has been largely reduced in Yobe State, especially the Boko Haram insurgency. But if I get you correctly, it might also be due to certain efforts, like you say, to check people who might want to come and indoctrinate the youth and all of that. Would you say this has helped to a large extent?
Exactly. It's one of the factors. Very, very well. Because there are, we have arrangement with our emirs who are the custodian of the communities. They have their own committee to check people who will come for any preaching in their domain. Then you see that these people will not trigger anything. And with this development, no Boko Haram will discuss and comment in doctrine, right? In this thing, discipline in our youth. And this is one of the main factors. And we will continue to do that, inshallah. And we have been praying Allah will give us peace in the very, very near future.
Thank you so much for your time on the program.
Thank you.
Honorable Commissioner for Religious Affairs in Yobe State, Honorable Mala Musti.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
That's all we have for you on today's episode of Impact Yobe. Don't forget to join us next week for a fresh edition of the program. I am Femi Akonde. Goodbye.